A lot of entrepreneurs in the audience right now. They're
Yeah.
founders, potential founders.
Yeah.
So there you are. You're about to start a company.
Yeah.
Right? You haven't found a co-founder yet. It's an idea. How do you create an organization that's enchanting, that thinks about sort of dicey and does all the things you're saying?
First of all, I would not be thinking about creating an organization that's enchanting. If you're an early stage entrepreneur, you should be thinking about creating a product that's enchanting. That comes first. Because at some level, venture capitalists invest in products. They say they invest in teams because what else can you say? You can't go to your LPs and say, well, we invest in unproven products with unproven entrepreneurs in unproven markets. But truly, that's where the big wins are. I mean, if you look at Apple and Cisco and Yahoo and YouTube and Google and Twitter, every one of those are untested teams, untested markets, untested technologies. Besides that, they're perfect for venture capital. So I think you should start with the product. And of the three pillars, if you gave me a choice of, okay, Guy, you could have a likable team, a trustworthy team, or a great product, which one would you pick if you only could pick one? Product. It's much easier to train people to be likable and trustworthy than to teach a bunch of bozos how to make a great product. So you start with this great product. And I think the first step, I see a mistake that many entrepreneurs do is that one of their initial steps is to take Excel and build a financial plan, Word and write a business plan, PowerPoint to create a pitch. That's not the three things that you should boot first. The three things you should boot first are whatever, AutoCAD or your compiler or PHP or Java or whatever it takes. But the first thing you should do is build a prototype, especially today. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, you had to suck up to VCs. You had to raise $1 million or $2 million because you needed to buy tools and you needed to buy infrastructure and you needed to buy all this kind of stuff, right? But let's look at the realities of a startup today. Not biotech, but software and services. So look at the things you need. So you need marketing. I hate to say it, but marketing is basically free, right? Twitter is free, Facebook is free, blogging is free. Marketing it might not be free, but it's very cheap. So marketing is free or cheap. You need infrastructure. Before, you had to buy a room full of appliance servers. Now, you call up Amazon services, you call up Rackspace, and now you have a terabyte in the sky, $1,000 a month. You don't need to build infrastructure. That's free or cheap. People, we're in a recession. People are free or cheap. Commercial real estate. Commercial real estate is free or cheap, but I would question that you need real estate at all because you're going to have this virtual team because everybody's connected through these fast pipes. That, I get 60 megabit speed at my house. It's Comcast. It's $60 a month. That's free or cheap. So tools. Before, maybe you had to buy an $800,000 license for Oracle 8, but now you use MySQL, which ironically is owned by Oracle. So basically, you go down the list. Marketing is free or cheap. People are free or cheap. Infrastructure is free or cheap. Office space is free or cheap. Tools are free or cheap. Man, what else is left? So that's why now you should show up to a venture capitalist having gutted it out and grinded it out, a prototype, and you should say, well, this is the ideal enchanting pitch to a venture capitalist, in my humble opinion. So you say, my buddy and I, working in our garage, working on our bedroom, working on our spare dorm room, whatever it is, my buddy and I, 2 guys in a garage, 2 gals in a garage, guy and a gal in a garage. We're using MySQL, we're using PHP, we're using, whatever, Java, we're using this. We found this open wireless network, so we don't even pay for wireless connectivity. And when we need to do really hard stuff, we have this friend at Stanford, so he lets us into the computer lab, and we do that there. And so lo and behold, we launched this site, and to our utter amazement, people started using the site. And then one day, as a joke, we decided, why don't we put a little button that says, click here to advertise on this site. We thought nobody would click. The next day, we wake up in the morning, there are 1,000 inquiries. What were we going to do? So suddenly we figured out we need to expand our team. We're getting more sales inquiries than we can handle. So we need some capital to hire a guy who's driving a German car with a Pierce steer and with an MBA. We need a biz dev guy. And so we need capital for biz dev. And we're at the limit of what Amazon services can do for us for $5,000 a month. We may have to go up the next level, so we need more money for infrastructure. So, we're kind of money bound because the dogs are eating the food we're producing so fast. So that's why we're trying to raise venture capital. Man, that is like my dream story. As opposed to we're two guys in a garage and we're going to hire these rock star programmers. They're rock stars. Every rock star programmer I ever met, 6 months later, they were fired. Oh, they were bozos after all. So, the usual pitch is we need $2 million. You need to leave us alone. Here's a PowerPoint presentation. We only need 1% of a large market. Let me tell you how large the market is. There are 300 million Americans. 1 in 4 owns a dog. That's 75 million dogs. Each dog eats 2 cans of dog food per day. That's 150 million cans of dog food per day. Luckily, dogs eat 365 days a year. They don't take a vacation. So it's 365 times 150 million cans of dog food per day. How hard could it be to get 1% of that? That's 1.5 million cans of dog food per day. We will, conservatively speaking, make $2 a can. That's $3 million a day. $3 million a day times 365 days. This is assuming that dogs don't eat more as they get older. 3 million times 365. We're talking $1 billion worst case, conservatively speaking. I hear that bullshit every day. Every freaking day. And you might see I have a hearing aid and I'm going like deaf in this ear. It's because of all the crap I hear. So, I don't know where that question started, but
it ended well.
Oh yeah, right.
It ended well.
So the way to enchant a VC, is to show up with a shipping prototype that people are already using, and you need capital to expand, not to experiment. Very big expectation.